Oh snap, Glaze is going live.
Hey folks, this was a lot of stuff went wrong with me and my brother relationship. Right now is one time, like we got into a big disagreement and he got this attitude, the way he talked to people, he want to talk down because he feel like he's 11 months older than me, so he want to talk down to me. So the difference is we were sharing the Cypress apartment at the time and I came home, but I was gonna bring this girl and I didn't. I came home by myself. But he was entertaining this other girl that had a baby that wasn't his baby, and he was messing with the other girl I was gonna bring over, her sister. So when I got there and I'm trying to get in, he didn't want to let me in. So I'm like, yo, man, I keep banging on the door, he wouldn't let me in. So he had the deadbolt on and everything. So what I did was I went downstairs, man. And when I went downstairs, I said, yo, let me in. You know, yo, go to the hotel, I'm not letting you in. Man, I blacked out. I went back upstairs, went to the 4th floor, went to 4B, and put 4 slugs in it. Took out the German 9mm and the shot, boom, 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 because I'm pissed. I'm blacked out. So here it is right now, he got scared. So he wound up, like as time went on, he wound up letting this girl, I guess she said, get me out of here. So he got out of there. So I caught him. He was leaving a phone booth on Southern Euclid, and right now he saw me. So he went running. And he went running to this building where we at right now. He went from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor, to the 3rd floor, to the 4th floor, to the 5th floor, to the 6th floor, to the 7th floor, now to the roof, where we at right now. So when he got to the roof, okay? When he got to the roof, back then, it was a bunch of pebbles. So right now, I'm on him, and he's gone. And as he got to the roof, right now on a pebble, he wound to trip, and he fell. And when he fell, I got him. I got him right here. I got him on the roof. And I got that same 9mm, German 9mm to his head. And all of a sudden right now is my mother. She was paging me, but she was calling me. Like, you know what I'm saying, keep paging my phone. Keep paging my pager. But I didn't have, you know what I'm saying, I was looking at it and say 911, 911, 911. But I wasn't really paying no mind. Here it is, he fell. He was running. And as he fell, he tripped over the pebbles. You know, back then, there was a bunch of pebble rocks here. And as he fell, I got him. I got that same German 9mm Luger. I got it to his head. And right now, I want to get him. Because once again, like I keep trying to tell him, don't talk to me any type of way that you want to talk to me. Right now, you can't talk to me any type of way. So I got him. And I got that German 9mm to his head. And I want to get him. I'm crying. I got tears just flowing down my face. And as the tears is flowing down my face, you know, my pager going off. And it's my mother. She been calling me. Because once again, when I shot through the door, he started calling her. What you calling her at 1 o'clock in the morning? You know, you wasn't calling her when you didn't want to let me in. Now all of a sudden you want to call her, you know, aggravating her nerve, getting her all worked up. So anyway, as she calling me, and right now, it was as bad as I wanted to get him. I know at that particular time, if I would have shot and killed him, I would have killed my mother. And the people, if you don't understand anything about me, anything good of me came from my late mother. Anything good about me came from my late mother. So the difference is I'm telling him, as I got the gun to his head, I'm saying, you ever disrespect me again, you ever talk down to me again, you know what's gonna happen? And you know what, folks, listen, a lot of times right now, temper is what gets us into trouble. Pride is what keeps us there. I'm gonna say that again. Temper is what gets us into trouble. Pride is what keeps us there. I lost. Like I told you, I lost a lot. You know, because of mental health issue, mental illness, anger management issue. I lost a lot. And right now, it's only because of the grace of God that I'm able to be here on Cypress Roof talking about these things, talking about where I went wrong at, talking about how I made a mistake. I was able to do that now. But back then, I couldn't do that because I was lost. But right now, I'm lost, but now I'm found. And this is my testimony. This is my ministry. I want these kids to listen to the words that come out of my mouth. Man, listen, folks, it's nothing slick by putting a gun in your hand. Anybody can put a gun in your hand. You know what? Try. You know what I'm saying? Developing skill. Try. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to punch a clock. That's what it's all about. Learning how to get up every morning, going to work, building your 401k plan, investing, retire before you expire. That's what it's all about. Being smart with your money, man. Having A1 credit, man. Watching, being dedicated to one woman, being dedicated to one man. Having kids, raising family, man. Living a life, buying a house. Living out there in the suburb, in the country. Living with it peaceful. Dying old in a rocking chair. That's what life is all about. Not dying, being assassinated on these streets. On these mean, cruel, dirty, nasty streets. Going to this graveyard at an early age. It's nothing cool about that. Listen, folks, here it is right now, Wiz. Guess what? You can always go back home. Is it worth going back home? Is it worth going back home? You can always go back home, but is it worth going back home? If you're not coming back to the hood to help people, putting food on their table, helping them with their bills, helping them with school supply, helping them whatever they need help with. You know what? Like I told you, what I'm trying to do is right now is I'm taking a supplement, Panoxol. You know what? How to prevent, you know what I'm saying right now, that we can use a supplement, a natural supplement to prevent high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high sugar, diabetes, massive stroke, heart attack. I'm talking about, then it's another company, CareClicks. How anybody that don't have insurance, if you don't have no insurance, we got telemedicine through CareClicks that you can basically right now call a doctor. And a doctor, you can tell your doctor what's your problem. And a doctor can prescribe the necessary prescription to help you to get healed, to help you to get back to normal. Right now, basically $20 to $30. Come on, folks. What we have to do is, I used to be the problem. Now I'm trying to be part of the solution. I used to destroy life. Directly or indirectly, I used to destroy life. Now what I'm trying to do is save life. Listen, my name is Brian Glaze Gibbs. You know what? And this is my ministry. This is my story. This is my life. I don't brag about who I once was. I hated who I used to be. I hated that lost individual. I hated that sick individual. But you know what? I love myself now. You know what? I finally got myself together. And now I know. I'm telling you, folks, you got to learn yourself. And you got to dig deep, man.
It was a little crew of them, you know, Glaze and some other brothers, and you know, and they used to go out, you know, every time you hear somebody doing something, they used to go out there and do crazy shit, you know, come back and then you hear all the shit they did and all shit like that. This was the gang side, like we had war with the Jamaicans, and from there everybody started calling us the A-Team. And from there, we just had a strictly code that nobody we didn't know couldn't walk on this side. And even people that lived in the projects, they know like if they didn't have the communication with us, they couldn't walk on over on this side.
Brian by himself went to these guys and approached, you understand, one of the leaders and said, yo, listen here, as long as you don't mess with me or my family, I ain't got nothing against you. He did this on his own.
I got me a gun, a 38, and I walked through there. And as I walked through there, you know, say, whip the gun in my thing, and I walked through the side, waiting for somebody from the A-Team or anywhere come up to me and say anything. Because if they would have, the first thing with me, I'm gonna blast them in their face.
I remember when Glaze started working with the A-Team, and he would come in the building and see us. We would play pity pat, and he would see us. Sometimes he would give us money.
Glaze and somebody else came home, you know, and I was telling my people, I said, yo, you know, we should put them down. But my man was like, nah. But then Glaze came over himself, and he talked to my man, and they made agreement. Next thing I know, he was down with us, you know what I'm saying?
I was around when the A-Team and Brian took over Fountain Avenue. And during that time, I always had my question, why did he go with these guys?
Brian Gibbs basically took over that side of the project and on Fountain Avenue by force. He was a gunman, and you know, he was somebody to be feared, somebody to be reckoned with, and I believe that whoever had it before he took it realized he was a force to be reckoned with, and maybe it was better to back down than confront him.
It was a very significant setback, not only for me, the police department and the district attorney's office, because we believed that we had Brian, quote unquote, dead to rights. The wrinkle in the whole situation was that the individual who confessed and agreed to cooperate refused to cooperate against Brian. His fear of Brian and his fear of Brian's retaliation against him and his family members prevented him from actually following through on the deal. So as a result, the case became relatively weak.
Even when he wasn't around, he was around. I mean, his people were around, and people were fearful. So even when he was in jail, I don't feel like anybody decided they were going to just take over for Brian Gibbs. You were going to have to earn your spot if you got that spot. You were going to have to take the way he took it. You were going to have to take it back that way.
I'm going with Cat.
The decision he made to go work in Queens, I never really agreed with it, because by then we was getting plenty of money. So I didn't feel the need that he should have took that on.
He was telling us, yo, I'm going to be fucking with Cat when I can come home. I was like, yo, them dudes is already hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, to fuck with them individuals, like, shit gonna get crazy. And, but that's the decision he made,
By the mid to late 80s, Brian had associated himself with probably the most ruthless and notorious cocaine crack enterprise in the city, that being Howard Pappy Mason and Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols. Brian was a competitor of theirs for a period of time, but they were smart enough to see the utility and value of having someone as dangerous as Brian on their side, and they recruited Brian to be one of their top lieutenants and to take over the East New York section of their operation. By then, because that organization was suspected of actually killing a parole officer Brian Rooney in 1985, they were all over everyone's radar screen. So Brian's name started to appear and come across my desk on a fairly regular and consistent basis.
He was building a name in and out of prison, in the jailhouse, And I mean, he really had a reputation of cats fearing him at that time, you understand? So.
And Eminem, Money and Murder.
He came to my house one day, he like, to my mom, he said, Miss Marlene, he said, yeah, my name is Eminem now. So like, my mom like, what's Eminem? He said, Money and Murder.
By the mid-1980s, I had started hearing the name Brian Gibbs on a regular basis. He had emerged as a street thug in East New York section of Brooklyn, who had then morphed into a drug dealer. And I was starting to hear more and more about violence associated with Brian and his operation in the Pink Houses and the Cypress Houses in the East New York section of Brooklyn.
We knew that he had an association with the guys out in Queens. Mm-hmm. We weren't sure, that he was in, what his involvement or how the involvement entangled with Brooklyn, mm-hmm. but we knew that he was involved with these guys in Queens.
I had initiated a special task force within the DA's office, where I was deputy chief at that time, the Special Investigations Unit, which was specifically designed to amass intelligence on drug operations throughout the county and throughout the city. It's difficult for me to try to quantify or extrapolate just how much Brian and the people associated with Fat Cat and Pappy were making, but I could tell you that they were moving kilos of cocaine, they were selling crack by the barrel load, and in effect had become crack pioneers, because they realized, and were some of the first people to realize, that they can get twice and sometimes 3 times the value of crack cocaine out of the city. And they created a pipeline up and down the eastern seaboard, all the way down to Virginia, where they were getting $40, $50, $60 for a $10 vial of crack. They were way ahead of their time.
Yo, Glaze, I just got to my favorite part of your book. This is out of prison as a new person. So, page 308, May of 1998. That's actually when I had the pleasure of meeting you.
Especially athletes, right? So athletes always want to be buff and they want to make sure they have a lot of energy and they want to run, blah, blah, blah. Panoxol was good for them, and that's how it all started. You know, it started with the men that had erectile dysfunction. It started with the guys who wanted to run and buff up. So the whole industry was surrounded with that, but they called it something else. There's a lot of names for it. And then some brilliant scientist says, wow, God, if we can do nitric oxide for those things, then why can't we do it for heart? Why can't we do it for the liver? Why can't we do it for blood flow? Why can't we do it for the vessels in the brain? Why can't we do it for the vessels in the legs? You see what I'm saying? So it's a really good whole body supplement. Saying that you always want to, because I said it's a driver, the most profound thing that I found in using this is allowing a person to realize that it opens up the doorway to perfect health. And the reason why it does that is because it's the first thing you need, and the second thing you need is nutrients. So if it's a door opener, you have a very good chance of getting a better health and longevity. And that's the key to life. Oxygen.